By the time we come back.
Are you ready to take your leadership journey to the next level? On the leadership platform TLP, we don't just talk about leadership, we live it. This year, we are bringing you cutting-edge insights, transformative tools, and real-world strategies to help you lead with confidence, purpose, and impact. This year, we have 4 seasons with 50 episodes. We will dive into themes such as leading self, leading others, and leading institutions. We bring you Leaders Are Leaders. This monthly session focuses on book reviews, discussions, encouraging all participants to read along with selected books on personal leadership and professional leadership. We also have a time with the CEO. In this segment, we dive into the stories of prominent CEOs who share their insights, lessons learned throughout their leadership journey. We also bring you extraordinary leadership stories, highlighting individuals in our societies who are doing extraordinary things. This segment inspires viewers with real-life examples of leadership in action. We will bring you some brilliant minds, courageous leaders changing the narrative of Africa. We also bring you, finally, the expert-led sessions, which cover a wide range of leadership and personal development topics, providing practical guidance and actionable strategies for personal and professional development. The leadership platform is your go-to space for personal growth, professional breakthroughs, and meaningful connections. I am Joy Bunsu-Schmutz, co-host on TLP, and I will see you every Saturday, 7 p.m. GMT, live on YouTube and Facebook.
Wow.
Hello. Hello. Good evening and welcome to the Leadership Platform. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm excited to welcome all of you to the Leadership Platform today, Saturday, 7 p.m., which is the best part of our day at CTL Africa, because we have the opportunity to come to you with great leadership lessons from great leaders who are prepared to freely share their knowledge, their experience, their expertise with you. You don't want to miss it, and we invite you to invite your friends, invite your colleagues, invite everybody that you think is ready to grow, because this is the growth time for us at CTL Africa Leadership. Today is no exception, and I am excited because of the topic we are going to discuss this evening. It is a great topic, and know that you are going to learn a lot. So I would invite you, wherever you are joining from, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn, just tell us your name and where you are connecting from, and we will be happy to introduce you to the whole wide world, because today is a great learning day. And so please do us the favor to have the privilege of introducing you to the world just by telling us your name and where you are connecting from. My name is Samuel Ayim. Once again, I'm based in Accra and connecting from Accra. The team on the CTL Africa is ready. Akofa is ready, connecting from Accra. Sarah Jessiapia connecting from Switzerland. Geneva, she's here. Joy, not yet connected, but I'm sure she was going to connect with us. So all of you connecting, just introduce yourself and we will be happy to introduce you to the whole wide world. Great. Yes, we know that many of you who connect don't necessarily want to show up by giving us your name, but we know you are there, so you are also welcome. We have a very great topic this evening, and it is a topic that is so important to us. We are talking about communication and leadership. We are talking about communication and team dynamics. We are talking about how you can elevate your team with the language that you speak. What you say and the way you communicate has the power to either elevate your team or to bring down your team. Your communication can help enhance the performance of your team or can affect negatively the performance of your team. That is why for us, this is such an important subject, and we want you to sit around the table with us, invite your friends, your bosses, your colleagues, your team leaders, your team members. Let them all come to the table this evening and let's reason together, because together we can build a powerful army of communicators who are energizing their teams across organizations and across the world. Right. So with such an important subject, we somebody who understands leadership, who understands communication, who understands team dynamics. But not only that, but somebody who has done it over and over and over again. And that is why our speaker this evening is the right person for the right topic. As you know, we always bring you the right person for the right topic to give us the right dinner on our Saturday nights. Our speaker this evening is very accomplished, professional, who has trained over 100,000 professionals. You heard me right. I didn't say 100. I said over 100,000 professionals. He has over 18,000 learners online. He has reached over 100 countries for his training, and he's been speaking and training for more than 15 years. Now, with this kind of experience, you would all agree with me that we have the right person to speak to us. The person to speak to us is Mr. Mustapha Ibrahim, who helps leaders and teams to speak with clarity, confidence, and authority. And as I indicated, for over 15 years, he has been training over 100,000 professionals in 4 continents, which includes training professionals from the World Economic Forum, creators in Switzerland, and Expo volunteers in Kazakhstan, to bank teams, universities, NGOs, and so on throughout Africa. He is a Mandela Washington Fellow and also an author of 2 books on public speaking. He's known to have sessions that are practical rather than merely motivational. Audiences live with frameworks that they can use in their next training. Now, this is the person who is going to engage us. So you will be ready to live here with practical frameworks and tools that will help you energize your team. And on that note, and not taking too much time, I would invite onto the stage my good friend who has accepted in a very short notice. And because he's a soldier, soldiers, when they are sleeping and they say, my friend, there is war, get up. And they get up. And that is what Ibrahim did for us when we reach out to him this week and say, hey, what can you do for us? What can you speak to us? And I can tell you guys, I just got to know Ibrahim just this week. And I said, why didn't I know this guy long ago with all that he's doing? And immediately I said, my friend, come to the leadership platform and share with us. And he didn't hesitate. Ibrahim, welcome to the leadership platform. Thank you so much for doing us the honors.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the honor, and I appreciate all the contributions that you've been putting on to make sure that leaders speak so that people will listen. Thank you very much. I appreciate.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so very much. Now, I've said a few things about you from your CV that you shared with us, and there's much more I didn't say. Right. But tell us, what is your motivation? What is it that drives you to go all across the world? In short, as somebody would say, what is your why? What drives you?
Right. Thank you very much. And it's a good question. But looking back, my why has always been and will always be the fact that people need to communicate interculturally. People need to communicate so that they will get the clarity and people will understand them. Whether you're making mistakes in grammatic errors, whether you are scared to speak in public, we all need to communicate. And my why has always been, how can I speak across cultures? And how can I also help people to speak across cultures? And taking into perspective, which I'll be talking about today, intercultural communication, because we are not all the same. We have people from different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds, nationalities and stuff. And we do things in different ways. And we understand this in our own perspective. So my why has been, and will always be, how can I ensure that leaders speak, individuals understand, and make a difference? And how can I use my voice to make a difference? Yeah.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. How to use your voice to make a difference and how to help others communicate so that people will understand. Great. So that is why you're here. And I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm going to leave the stage for you to share with us what you have prepared. And then we'll come back and take questions and comments from our audience. Myself and Sarah will join you on the stage at the end. And then you would take the questions and answers. So from now to the next 30 to 40 minutes, the stage is all yours. Share with us. And by the end of the 40 minutes, I'll pop onto the screen to signal you the questions and answers.
Right. So thank you very much. Once again, my name is Ibrahim Mustapha, and I've been doing this for the past 15 years. And today, my topic is centered on communicate to lead. How can we build trust and high-performing teams? When you look globally, we are having a communication challenge. Not necessarily a leadership challenge, but we are having a communication challenge because people don't trust people anymore. And people who want to, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are somebody who's an author, whether you're a political leader, economic leader, whatever type of leadership that you are into, and you communicate and they don't understand you. You may have a good intention, but no one will understand you. So today, we are going to look at how to communicate, to lead, and build trust and high-performing teams. And the first thing I want to ask you is that, can you lead? Can you lead people if you cannot communicate effectively with them? It's a rhetorical question. The question is, can you lead people if you cannot communicate with them? You need to answer that. And I want you to appreciate that every decision you make must survive the journey from your mind into someone's mind. Else, you will not get understanding. You need to let them appreciate the strategy, the culture, accountability, motivation, and how they should be able to move with their life or what you want them to do. So if you cannot communicate with them, you may be in your own interest, a good leader. You have the intention, you know what you want, but in the realm of the case, you are a bad leader because you cannot communicate. And that is what we are going to look at. And I love this question, why communication matters. Whether you are a student leader, family leader, whatever you do, you should understand that communication matters. And I want to let you appreciate why it matters. Number one, what you say and how you say that matters. The trust level, you need to believe in your intent, right? Are you aligned with whatever you want to say? When maybe you are dealing with employees, you are dealing with a team. Are you aligned? Are you in alignment? And also collaboration. You need to appreciate that people help each other, right? So if you communicate well, you are going to get that opportunity to collaborate with people. You also need to appreciate that clarity is a form of kindness. And also silence is a message itself. So when leaders say nothing, teams invent the explanation. So you are leading a team and you're not communicating with them. You're not telling them what to do. In your mind, you believe that they can do whatever they want to do to push the organization forward. I'm telling you, they are going to do things, and at the end of the day, you are going to be in sync and in shock. And I'm going to share with you also classically, when you look at leaders who move to Ghana or to Africa to do businesses, and young leaders who are also doing business, local businesses, the differences is quite huge because of the intent. And also, I want you to appreciate that repetition is not nagging. A message becomes shared understanding on the third telling, not the first. Maybe you want to say something to your organization. Sometimes it may even be an email. And you send the email once and you assume that people get it. I'm telling you, you are going to fail. So this is why I believe that communication matters. And everything revolves. People will say on leadership, I will say communication. Whether it's marketing, whether you are an engineer, doctor, lawyers, whatever you do revolves around communication. You also need to know that leadership is more than just a title. A title gives you authority over people, but communication gives you influence with them. They can appoint me today as the maybe president of Ghana or minister. Yes, you have the authority, but the question is, do you have the influence? When you say, let's go, do people follow you because of the authority, or they follow you because willingly you are influencing them to do that? So we have position-based leadership, which is supposed to be powered by authority. Number one, compliance. People do what is required. Information is held and released, right? And that is if you are having an opposition and it's just by accident, authority. People don't comply sometimes. Questions feel like challenges. You ask someone a question and the person feels like you are challenging them. And sometimes works while you are in the room, but it produces quiet and obedient teams. So that is position-based leadership. Let's look at influence-based leadership powered by trust, where the people trust you and believe that you can take them to wherever they want to get to. Number one, there's commitment. Information is shared and explained. Questions are invited and rewarded, and works when you are not even in the room. Also produces thinking and teams that own up. So I want you to appreciate that people may follow your position, but they commit to your leadership when they trust your communication. I have the 4 pillars of leadership communication. And number 1, clarity. Number 2, listening. Attention is very important. Are you the leader who listens? Or are you the type that when someone starts to speak, you already know the answer in your mind? And you chip in, thinking that because you are the leader, you are the best in terms of understanding. Empathy. You need to read the person, not just the report. Feelings drive behavior long before logic does. And also have C in the 4 pillars of leadership communication, which is consistency. Are you consistent with your messaging? Are you consistent with your wording? In some of the organizations I've worked with in terms of consulting, I've seen that they even have color palettes that they've documented down. And they feel like this is our color, this is our logo. These are the colors that make our logo. You can never change our logo. Our wording, our messaging. If you're able to, or you want to change the slogan of the organization, you need to go through layers. You file applications, you send messages to the board, they have to approve just a change of color or wording. And I've realized that is why some organizations, some leaders last long, because there's a system to it. They are consistent with their messaging, they are consistent with whatever they want to do, and it's documented down. It's not some type of leadership that let's go, when the leader is not there, nothing happens. And that also leads to people losing out businesses, and some can keep businesses generationally. So you need to know that 1, clarity, 2, listening, empathy, and consistency. You need to also appreciate that trust is not a pillar. It is what the 4 pillars are holding up to. And it collapses the moment one of them is missing. And you need to believe. You also need to appreciate trust is built through communication. Whatever you do in this world, if you want people to trust you, you need to build that through communication. You may see somebody, instantly you may try to trust that person. Why are you trusting that person? Because the person has communicated something. It may be through their clothes, it may be through their looks, it may be through their color, whatever it is, it's through communication. And trust is equal to clarity, consistency, competence, and character, which I already talked about. And I want to also let you appreciate the cost of poor communication. Maybe you are watching on TikTok. Maybe you are watching on LinkedIn. Maybe you are watching on Facebook. And when you hear this communication, you feel like, oh, it's for big brands. Communication is not something that I'm supposed to get involved with. Communication is something that is like a vague type of word. But I want you to know that the cost of poor communication will cost you a lot. No single failure looks serious. The chain is what does the damage. Miscommunication, right? The message was sent and not received. Sometimes assumptions, conflict, lower trust, and also ultimately poor performance. Maybe you want to even get a job. Maybe you want to get promotion. Sometimes you may even fail because of poor communication. People lose jobs, marriages collapse, businesses collapse just because of the cost of poor communication. And you need to appreciate that if you are running a business or you have the intent to run a business, you need to be conscious about your communication and how you want the world to view you and see you in terms of your brand and what you communicate out there. You also need to appreciate that. The question I want you to appreciate is, are you listening? Are you the type who listens? Or you are just the type that you feel like, oh, you can do whatever you want to do? Whatever someone is saying, it doesn't matter? Are you the type that you wake up and someone tells you, maybe an elder person sees you and tell you that, oh, do this, it will help you. And you say, oh, I know better because I'm on TikTok, I'm on social media, I've seen all this. Are you the type who listen? Do you listen to understand? Or do you listen to react? Right? And I have this chain. You listen, understand, clarify before you even respond. So you need to also, the 3 behaviors you can practice tomorrow that can help you. Number 1, reflect before you react. When someone is asking you a question, ask one more question. Oh, I didn't get you. What do you mean? Because sometimes we communicate with emotions, and some people may even ask questions with emotions, and you may misread the question and start to fire. And also let silence do the work. I just want you to also appreciate that communication is not just the words. Communication moves beyond the words. The tone, which I'm mastered on in terms of public speaking, I just want you to know that the tone, what is the pitch? Body language, context. What is the smile? How are you smiling? And all these things matters when it comes to communication. So it's not just the words that you say that matter, but it's actions, the tone. Sometimes even what you wear communicates something to the world. And I also want you to know that your team may not speak the same communication language. And today, my interest in this particular webinar, and I just want to thank the team for this opportunity, is that I want to center this on intercultural communication, because I've started doing some researches in the last 5 years about intercultural communication. I want to understand how people react, why people react the same way they react. And globally, one of the biggest challenges I've researched to find out in terms of communication is intercultural communication. How people react, one, nationality, religion, when it comes to maybe political grouping, when it comes to your religious background, when it comes to your language, culture, and all those things, and how you react to terms. I'm telling you, causes a lot of businesses to fail. Whether it's a hospital, whether it's a law firm, whether it's a government, I'm telling you, lack of intercultural communication has caused a lot of harm to organizations. So I want you to know that your team may not speak the same communication language. 2 people can share a language, a company, and an office, and still be running completely different rules about how respect is shown. I want you to know that different does not mean difficult. Different requires understanding. So culture shapes communication. That is what I just wanted to drive at. And we have different contexts, different organizations, different modes of communication. We have the direct and the indirect. No, that won't work, right? No, that won't work. And also, that may not work. So you see that there's some direct and some indirect communication to it. Just know that won't work. Direct, right? And that may be difficult. Indirect. In the cultural context, sometimes we don't take this into perspective, or we don't give much thought into this. And it's affecting organizations, whether it's NGO, whether it's people working in a different culture, different platforms and stuff. And we try to just speak as if we know them or we understand them. So we also have the formal and informal. And I'll explain a bit of why this is very important to me and why I want that to be important to you. We also have like the informal versus the formal. We have organizations or country specific that are title based, right? There are titles, there are protocol, there are structure. And in some places, we just have the first name and an open debate. And this is very also important to me because when you are working in an organization, in the context of Africa, you need to worship the leader. You need to worship, which if it's a minister, if the CEO, they are coming, you need to run and take their bag and say, oh, madam, welcome, sir, welcome. And they just need to see that authority. Come and open the door, come and do this. And they see that as you are serious because they want authority, they want titles, they want respect. And that is why in one of my sessions, when I was in school, I called one professor. I said, oh, I just mentioned a professor or a doctor this. Mention the first name. You look at me and say, my friend, you have to mention the full name. You cannot mention doctor and just leave the first name. That's the rules. And this man was feeling entitled in terms of that. He may be right, but I just want you to know that people are more entitled when it comes to titles, protocol, and structure in certain jurisdictions than others. But in other places, if you constantly call someone, oh, boss, you mention their full name, they may not even be happy. They just want you to mention their first name or second name, and they move on with that. We also have individual and collective. I decide I am accountable, and also we decide, we carry it together. In the cultural concept, you need to understand this and why it's very important. In the culture of your organization even, and taking it out of your organization, this is very important because in some cultures, they believe in individualism, even when it comes to the family system. So they look at only the nuclear family, they don't look at the extended family. But in some contexts, they look at the collective nature of it. They do things collectively. They want to be seen together. They want to be seen to belong. And you need to understand that, especially in the organizational context. This has its ups and downs, whether it's individual or collectiveness, but it's very important when it comes to intercultural communication. We have flat and hierarchical or whatever it is. You need to appreciate challenges the boss openly. Respect is shown by deferring. So you need to understand. We have the flat versus the hierarchy, whereby they want to show respect, especially the civil servants. They want to show, oh, this is in charge of this one, then they want to see that. We also have direct feedback versus face saving. Correct in the moment and correct privately. This is also very important and also ties into criticisms. You want to speak to your boss and you are in a team, and sometimes you talk to somebody, the person is there's a challenge or this person is doing something wrong, and you try to correct the person in public, the person may never forgive you. And if you are a junior staff or worker, you may lose a lot of opportunities because you just try to correct your boss or your superior in public. They see that as what? Kind of like shame to them. So when you correct them, they are not happy. So some people want you to call them, oh, boss, oh, what you did was wrong. Please, next time. Or even if it may be a junior, they want you to call them because they look at dignity in terms of that. So when you are working with people in maybe Europe, maybe in America, they will criticize you. Oh, Mr. John, what you did was wrong. Next time, do it better. But in our part of the world, they want you to come and say, oh, boss. So because direct feedback and face saving, they look at the face saving and stuff. We also have fixed time and also fixed time and flexible time. The deadline is the deadline. It's fixed. Some cultures is fixed. They respect time. And our moderator, who is in Switzerland, will understand this. When they say it's 8 o'clock, I'm telling you, if you go there 8:01, the bus is gone. But in our part of the world, when they say 8 o'clock, be prepared to go there at 8:30. And 8:30, their program has not even started. They will now be giving you excuses. A program may start at 9 or 10 because we are flexible with time, and that is also this big disadvantage on its own. So you should know all this when you are dealing with culture and you are dealing with people in different contexts. And there are repercussions and case studies that I've followed when I was doing my MSc in communication. I followed these case studies, and I realized that some organizations, or most organizations, who don't adapt to culture, who don't research into culture before getting into some countries, before venturing into some maybe territories, fail. And I want to give you one case study, which is the case study of Walmart in Germany. Walmart ventured into Germany, global conglomerate. very versatile in terms of when it comes to voice. They have all the researches done for them. They are $1 billion company operating in America and in some parts of Europe. They said, let's venture into Germany because it's easy for us to get into that place. They got in and they failed. Why did they fail? Because of intercultural communication. They wanted to use the same customer-centric experience in America, the Harvard style, and apply that in Germany. And that didn't work. Why didn't it work? They want the customers to early mornings, their employees, to chant or motivational chants early in the morning before they start work. You know, that prayer, they want to do that before they start. They also wanted their customers to smile, their workers, staff, right, to smile to the customers when they are coming. And in Germany, they hardly smile. If you understand Germans and Russians, they don't smile for nothing. It's their culture. It's not bad to them. So when you expect your employees to smile, and the problem was not only about the employees smiling, because if taking the job, they could smile. But the customers were having a problem with people smiling at them, because in their culture, they don't see anything funny for you to be smiling. And based on this and other things which has to do with labor and stuff, Walmart failed in Germany. And it's a global case study that you can study that on to also understand the perspective and why you need to be culturally inclined. A manager sense, I want to let you appreciate this also. You may say same words, but different meaning. Okay, so like let's say a manager sends a message to a team member. We need to talk. One message. Lower hierarchy or direct culture will say, okay, something to discuss. Higher hierarchy or culture will say, I am in trouble. See that type of, I am in trouble when it comes to our part of the world. The manager says, we need to talk. And someone says, oh, okay, something to discuss. They will ask you. They will know that there's something good to discuss. But in some jurisdiction and culture, they will say, oh, I'm in trouble. And indirect and face-saving cultures, they will say something serious happened. It could not be said gently. So you see the same message, but different perspectives and different distance. So cultural intelligence is not about memories or memorizing stereotypes. It is about learning to understand people, right? Stereotyping, maybe judging, misunderstanding and stuff. And why I'm much more particular about this topic is what just happened in the course of this week, which has to do with Muslims and Christians. Sometimes if we don't understand each other, we are bound to have one or two conflicts or misunderstandings because we are all culturally different. So if you are here, and whether you're a Muslim or Dagomba or Gonja or you are from America or whatever that you do or you belong to, I want you to appreciate that when you are speaking, get into the mind of the perspective of the other person you are speaking to and understand that they may not be from where you are. And the tone that you may use may hurt them for them to come back to you because in their culture, they don't say things like that. In your culture, it may be normal, but in their culture, it may be different altogether. So when you are speaking, when you're talking, when you're communicating as a leader, whether you are leading a mosque, a church, a hospital, you're a political leader, you need to understand that culture plays a significant role. From the what you wear, your gestures. In UK, if I do this, if you can see this, it's a rude gesture. If I just took, but if in Ghana or any part of the world you're taking a picture, you may just do this, and it's okay. So imagine you're working with somebody who resides in UK, Ireland, and the 4 nations, Australia, and you do that. They may find that as an offensive gesture. If I'm in Ghana and you do this, excuse me to use this, but it's not even good to use this on camera or this on camera. So you need to be culturally sensitive. But the funny thing is that the same hand gesture maybe is offensive in some parts of the world. But in other parts of the world, it's not an offensive hand gesture. So what may work somewhere may not work in a different place. So I have a clear communication framework that can help each one of you in terms of your communication. which has to do with how to connect, listen, express clearly, adapt, and reinforce trust when you are communicating. And I just want you to appreciate. And still going back to Hammer, we've seen the 4 communication styles which you can read on: passive, aggressive, or passive aggressive. But my opportunity or my interest lies in the culture, because a lot of people fail because they don't understand culture and how people communicate. And that is affecting organizations, that is affecting businesses. But you need to understand that no matter who, no matter what, you can be culturally sensitive. And don't go around changing people. You are working with people and the person says that, oh, I need to go and pray. I need to do this. I'm not available on Sunday. And you say, oh, you are too religious. And you just brush that in. No, it's not going to work like that. You need to listen to them, understand their perspective. And if it is a bad culture, you can still change that by helping them. In the case of Nescoffee in Japan, I love case studies. They wanted to venture into Japan, but they realized that the first 2-3 years after the World War II, they ventured into Japan because Japan was a tea-loving nation. They wanted to introduce coffee to them. They said, okay, if they love tea, then they can love coffee. So they tried their best, did all their researches, got in, and it failed. The people didn't love Nescoffee, the coffee. They didn't love the flavor. So they had to step back and ask questions like, what did we do wrong? Where did we go wrong? What should we do? And they came up with an idea. They said, let's think long term. So what did they do? They transferred the coffee flavor into toffees, candies. And they started giving the candies to young kids, students. You know, kids, they love toffees. They started loving the toffee. Young people having parties, they go and give them the toffees for free, coffee for free. So when the children or kids started growing, what did they do? They had the coffee buds as part of their taste. And now they started to love the coffee because they already have a taste of it when they were kids. So you see that it's a cultural transformation where you can start. And I believe that that is where the phrase started, catch them young, and they will be yours forever. So you see how you can change culture. Your culture is unique, but you can still change other people's culture. Maybe they are doing things that don't work for you or things that you may not like. So if you're a business person, individual, whatever you do, try to be culturally sensitive. Whatever you want to say, think about it before you say it. Put the person you are talking to in perspective. Whether it's a webinar, whether it's TikTok Live, whether it's something that you do, especially communication with Gen Zs, which is a new communication trend that people are still struggling on how to communicate with Gen Zs because there are no case studies. A lot of case studies are not there, or people have not written much on that aspect of it. So if you want to also communicate with Gen Zs, you also need to be culturally sensitive because their era and what they see, what they do is quite different from what you see and from what you want to do. In this generation, Gen Z generation, someone can just go on and set themselves up on fire to I can't use kill, but to destroy themselves. Why? Because they wanted trend. They wanted to go viral. And you ask yourself, why will you put yourself in this situation just because you want to go viral? And if you go viral, what next? You are not demo. And that is culture in terms of what they know and what they do. So you need to also make sure that you are culturally sensitive and make sure that intercultural communication is the backbone of whatever you do. You may communicate with mistakes, errors, but I'm telling you, be mindful of intercultural communication and how you deal with that. I'm more passionate about this because leaders lose, people fail, gens lose because of lack of intercultural communication and immersion. So if you don't take anything from today's session, be culturally sensitive and know that the way you communicate with people differs in terms of whatever you are doing. So how leaders give better feedback. Yes, Samuel. Yes, Mr. Sam, I have that. So how leaders give better feedback: situation, behavior, impact, and next step. Situation, when and where. Anchor it in fact, not a pattern. Behavior, what was observed, no labels, no character or judgments. Impact, right? What it costs. This is the part leaders skip. And also next step that you want to do. The question also is, what conversations are you avoiding as a leader? What conversations are you avoiding as a leader? You already know whose name and whose face came to mind. That conversation is not getting easier while you wait. It is getting more expensive. You're a leader, you're working, and sometimes you want to have conversations, but you are dodging. You are escaping those conversations because you feel like this is difficult, this is tense, or this is something that when you go in, you're going to fail. It may be a contract, it may be a presentation, pitch deck, whatever you want to do. It may even be asking questions about pay rise or promotion. Sometimes we dodge them because we are scared, because we are culturally sensitive in such a way that if I go and talk to them about, oh, I want money, I want to get a salary increase, they may say that, oh, you want money too much. And this has affected almost all the people I know, including myself. Sometimes I do trainings and getting the money, I can charge like maybe 100,000 or 50,000 or 10,000. But because of culture and sometimes the orientation growing up, you feel like, no, if I go and talk about money, they will say, oh, you like money too much. You see, that's where culture also still comes in. So the question I want to re-ask you is, what conversations are you avoiding? How do you approach that? You need to prepare. Know your one message before you open your mouth. Know what you are going to start with. State the purpose and your intent in the first 20 seconds. Why are you having the conversation? Listen. You need to listen to your version also first. You may be missing a fact, and also clarify. Separate what happened from what it meant. Also need to agree. One specific commitment from both sides, and also follow up. A date in a diary, without it, nothing changes. Maybe you've sent an application. Maybe you've sent a proposal, because in the business world, we deal with proposals. You've sent a proposal to a school, you send a proposal to a hospital or clinic to do a business or project. Once, you just sent it once. You don't follow up, I'm telling you, you are going to lose. Because the first one, they may not even have seen that. The second one, you follow up and the person is like, oh, did you send the email? Which email did you send it to? We've lost the password. Then you collect the real email, you send it again. The next time you go, they tell you that, oh, yes, we've seen it, but, oh, we are doing this. We will get back to you. 2 weeks, go back again until you get what you want. Sometimes it's not that they are denying you. Most of the times is that because you don't follow up and they have a lot of things to do, they may forget. So always follow up and make sure that you pursue whatever you want to pursue in terms of communication and that. Conflict is not always a problem. A team that never disagrees is not aligned. Difference, discussion, understanding, and better decisions. So at this point, I would like to end my presentation here, even though there are a lot of things that we have to talk about. But I just want to end it, this particular presentation here in terms of the PowerPoint, and let you appreciate that you have what it takes to communicate. You need to be effective in terms of your communication, and you need to have that belief that you can make a difference with the power of your voice. So the next time you go into a meeting, whether it's a staff meeting, whether it's an interview, whatever meeting that you get into, what are you supposed to do? Speak. You may make grammatic errors. You may speak and there are a lot of nuances. You may go unprepared. Sometimes your body language may not work well, but I want you to know, keep communicating. Because you're not perfect. No one is perfect. Sometimes you look back into your emails and so, did I send this email? But I'm telling you, sometimes you make an impact and you get a response. I'm not saying you should keep the score high and make sure that you better in terms of yourself, your language, your grammar, your diction, or whatever you do, your communication, your branding. You can get all that done. But don't ever forget to communicate. Just because you feel like you're not enough, just because you feel like, oh, this organization is a multi-million-dollar company, and you fail to communicate. And that is hurting Africans a lot, especially African startups, because I've worked with NGOs, I've worked with individuals, I have mentees who are doing a lot of great things, but sometimes fear to communicate. When they say $1 million grant, they don't go for it because they start thinking, hey, I must send this application. I must do this. For me, I'm not even up there. I can't be there. And they fail to even apply. And they're applying for 2,000 grants, 3,000 grants, 50,000 grants, because in their mind, that is their level of communication. I want you to know that because you are building an effective team and because you believe that you want to do more, you need to communicate. And sometimes get your team involved, get people involved. I want to leave with this quotation, and the maestro will come in, Mr. Samuel Ayim will come in, and that quotation is that always, and it's an unknown quotation, and I love this quotation very well. It says that you should always plant trees under whose shade, right? You don't even intend to sit. Let me take it again. Plant trees under whose shade you don't even intend to sit. What is the meaning of this? It simply means that help people who you know that no matter what, they can never help you back. Show up for people just because you know that you're not showing up for them because you want them to show up for you. Help people who cannot help you back. Communicate with power, communicate with purpose, show up for people. So thank you, Mr. Ayim, for this opportunity. And if there are questions, I'm ready to answer those questions and to get clarity on the things I've said. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for those great nuggets. We can see that there's a lot that you have to share with us, and you've done justice. And I love the cultural communication aspect. And thank you so very much. We're going to take a quick, short break. And when we come back, we're going to go into your comments. Please don't go away because Ibrahim has a lot to share, and much more will come from your comments and questions. So please share your questions that you have. What are your challenges? What is it that is hindering your effectiveness in communicating with your team? Why is it that you have a challenge with your employee? What is going on within your circles? So let's take a quick break. Akofa, if you're ready, and let's come back and take the questions.
After a successful debut, the Emotional Intelligence Summit and Awards is going global. Join leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, coaches, educators, and change makers from around the world for a powerful virtual experience focused on the leadership skill that matters most, emotional intelligence. Learn from renowned global speakers, gain practical insights, expand your network, and discover how emotional intelligence drives better leadership, stronger teams, and lasting impact. Featuring Dr. Alphonse Rake, Germany, Dr. Jay Gary, USA, Yakuba Sare, Burkina Faso, Vicky Karunga, Kenya, Dr. Dave Boraham, South Africa, Reverend Kwesi Dixon, Ghana, Michelin Tucker, Ghana and Governor, Abadaku, USA. The event concludes with the prestigious EQ Awards 2026, celebrating individuals and organizations advancing emotional intelligence and transforming lives. Saturday, August 29th, 2026, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Note, this virtual event is in English and French. Register today and experience the EQ advantage, driving leadership, innovation, resilience, and impact.
Right. Welcome. Let me bring Sarah on stage with me, just in case my network plays games, so that together we can handle the discussions with Ibrahim on this beautiful presentation. All right. So who is in the room? I'm seeing Tete Junior Anthony is in the room and is connecting from the Volta region. Wetter in the Volta region. Great. Wellington Emmanuel says, thank Uncle Sam for this platform. Very enriching sharing. Great. Looking forward. Tell us, Emmanuel, how it was. You were looking forward. What did you learn? Everybody on the platform, just share with us one thing that you have learned. What are you going to apply from what you've learned from Ibrahim this evening? What are you going to change in your communication style? And what are you going to teach to your team members? Go ahead and share so that we can know what you are learning. Ben Aye is watching from Accra. Her Ladyship, Cynthia Martinson, is here in the house, and she is saying, interesting. You hit the nail right on the head. We have Albert Donko also in the house, and we have Fayatu in the house. Fayatu says, interesting insight on culture. Indeed, it was interesting. Albert says, awful presentation. Tete Junior says, wow, a team that never disagrees is not alive. Thank you for that insightful presentation. My question is, and this is coming to Ibrahim, do we have specific number of disagreement settled as a team? Do we have a specific number of disagreement settled as a team? This question comes when some team members think there are too much of issues or disagreement. All right. So just note that Ibrahim will come back. Is there a certain number of issues that makes it too much? What do we say? Please go ahead and share your learning with us. It is great hearing from my boss, Ibrahim. All right. That's our best. Ebenezer says, how do you, and this is probably the second question. The first one is, what amount of disagreements amount to too much? The second one is, how do you communicate effectively where you are not familiar with the culture and the terrain? Read the book entitled The Art of War. And Cynthia says, an excellent communication. Okay, we'll come back to take more comments. Please share your learnings. And let's go back to Ibrahim. Thank you so very much. There are two questions already from our audience, and I want you to address that, and then we'll come back to the platform, to Sarah, to listen to what questions she has. Ibrahim.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for these questions, and to also have a lively audience. The first question, I would say that the number of disagreements, I will say that the day you start or you work, or maybe you are working in an organization or you have a team that you started yourself. The moment you start the team, right, that day you are going to have the disagreements until the organization is done, is collapsed. Then even after whether it's collapsed or it's still working, you still have disagreements. Why? Sometimes even you yourself, personally, as an individual, you want to name your business. Sometimes you have disagreements between the names, the type of registration, whether it's limited liability, you disagree with yourself. And this also comes back to our human interactions with ourselves. And that also goes to show that you will always have disagreements. And I don't know the number, maybe 1 million times, 2 million times, every single day, we disagree to agree. Your tongue and your teeth, always, even when you are chewing something, sometimes they disagree and they bite your tongue. Your own teeth, they disagree, but they work and they know their places. They know, oh, when there's a mistake, what should we do? When there's a disagreement, how do we settle that? Are we going to let it go out of proportion? And that also has to do with the culture you set in your organization, so that people will be heard, people will be listened to. Because if there are a lot of disagreements and you are the senior, the boss, and you don't listen to the subordinates, right? Because there's a disagreement, you hate them, and you feel like, oh, they are too knowing or stuff, you will stop getting feedback, and your organization will stop to grow because you've stopped being disagreeing with this thing. So it's something that will lead or be there for the rest of the period that your organization is formed. How do you communicate effectively where you are not familiar on the terrain? The first thing I want to talk about is that, and my senior, Madam Sarah and Mr. Ayim, who've been doing this for quite a long time, will also step in and add their voices. The first thing I want you to know is that when you are getting into a particular industry, or you want to communicate to a particular group of people or individual, maybe it's an individual, first you need to observe, to understand them, to understand how they do things. So you are new in the room and you just go in and you want to take charge and you start speaking, it's going to affect you. I had an engineer, 2 case studies, a young engineer from Nigeria who, very intelligent, brilliant, he's won awards, but he got into Germany to work in a company, an electrical company. The first day he got into the meeting, they asked a question and he stood up, answered the question. Second question, he stood up again. All the questions, he raised up his hand. But 2 weeks later, he saw that there were a lot of backbitings. They are giving him names. Later, he found out that their culture is not like that. You don't take center stage and you try to be like you are the overall boss and anything you want to say, you have to observe. So the first is observation. The second thing you can do is to ask for help. Ask people who know the industry or the way you are going to. And once you get some 1 or 2 things, I'm telling you, it's going to help you. Maybe it's a business you want to start. Maybe I want to start a chicken business, and I want to start that in Ghana. Sometimes you need to ask people, oh, what is the registration requirement? What are the people eating? Do they eat chicken or pork? These are all things that you do, and we call this in business as you need to do your research before you start any business. It's the same, knowing the terrain, knowing the people. But the best is get the people to help you. Ask questions, keep asking questions until you become familiar with the terrain or the place you want to get into. There was one business, to cap it up with this case study. They wanted to establish a business in the Saudi enclave. They did everything. Their offices were ready. They even started operating. They wanted to do marketing. They got an influencer, and in the marketing, they accidentally showed on TV. They did a promo, they showed it on TV, and there was alcohol. The influencer was having alcohol in the background. And it became a global, like the people were on the streets, because to them, they don't see that on their TVs. Why is that important? They could have just showed the advertisement to a lot of people in the same vicinity to see, so that they will understand what is happening there. But they just went ahead to do this. So number 1, ask. Number 2, observe. Number 3, make sure you employ somebody to help you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right. So, Sarah, any questions?
Yes,
there's a few comments coming, but go ahead if you have some questions.
Okay, Ibrahim, thank you so much for...
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us so many frameworks. You did speak about the direct and indirect communication, as well as hierarchical and flatter cultures. What I wanted to know is that when there is a significant power difference between a leader, right, and the team members, how can the leader know whether people are genuinely agreeing or simply showing culturally expected difference? How do you know that it's just not difference, but they are genuinely agreeing or following the vision that you are setting, and it's not just difference? In your experience, yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. The first thing that I always advise, just it falls in line with the culture and how you go about things when you are unfamiliar with a particular trend. Mm-hmm. Most of the organizations I've consulted for, and I want to sometimes ask them, when I ask the leaders, how do you know your company? How do you know this employee that you are even bringing on board? Right? How do you, and sometimes they start to they speak in vague. Oh, you do this. Oh, I've asked people, consultants to do this. These are all important. Mm-hmm. But the first thing is observation. The first thing is observing them and giving them simple tasks to do. So when you give someone a task, maybe you want to know their mindset in terms of disagreement when it comes to even criticisms, right? If they say something in a meeting and you just said, tell them that, what you said is wrong. Sometimes even the body language will show. Mm-hmm. You try to know, this is what they do. This is how they do things. But most of the times, because we are in a modern era, some of the leaders, what they do is that, I don't know in my MSc class and some of the organizations I talk to, I don't know the differences, whether it's ethical or non-ethical, right? But most organizations do that. Effective monitoring, whether it's audio monitoring or video monitoring. So they intentionally plant things in the office space of the new employees or people they work with to hear their conversation, right? And that can fall under whether it's ethical or not ethical. Some people use that to do that. But to me, the best way is to give them miniature tasks, observe them, and sometimes do a background of where they are coming from. Naturally, when you see that when we have people from Japan, people from the Middle East coming to West Africa or Africa, for them, they have the indirect type of communication, right? So they want to tell you that you ask them a question. Have you done this? Have you sent that? They will nod their head. But in nodding, you see, we don't know whether it's yes or no. In some jurisdictions, this one simply means no, or I've accepted the question, or I've understood whatever you are saying. But sometimes it goes beyond that. So when you consistently have these petty things that people keep on exhibiting, they want to speak, it's like they are speaking in tongues, Sound simple means that they're not going straight to the question. Then you get to know that these people, they fall under the indirect or direct based on their own conversation and actions. Timing, right? Even though if you go to Switzerland, there's no way. If you bring your Ghana time, it will shape you. You will forget about it, right? But if you're working in our part of the world, in some jurisdictions, you give them time. Oh, I want you to send this email at this particular time. The deadline is 7 days. Maybe deadline is 24th. See the time they will send the email. Are they the type that they will wait for the 24th in the morning to send it? Or they are the people that immediately we tell them that the deadline is 24th, immediately they send that. If they do that consistently, then you now try to know where they belong and how they do things. So to my best of knowledge, since you are more experienced, this is what I have to say. And yes.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. Sam, would you have a question before I come on with the other questions, as well as from the audience?
Well, yeah, please go ahead with a question from the audience. We want to take our audience questions first.
Perfect.
And
okay,
then I will come with one question for Ibrahim.
Wonderful. So I have...
Because I think...
Willendell Emmanuel says, great presentation. Yes, I like the fact that communication is about trust, clarity, listening, empathy, and consistency. And these are the four pillars that build trust. Very great. What role does the right technical language play in communication?
Right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Language, technically the right language, if you get into a space and you speak the right kind of language to a group of people, they will start to believe in you and you start to build their trust. So for example, you are walking on the streets of New York and you hear some people speaking Tree. Immediately, you build that rapport, that trust, because in their right frame of work or whatever they do, they see themselves as, they see you together. They feel like, oh, you know their background, you know where they're coming from and stuff. So language plays a critical factor when it comes to language, communication. And when we take it back a little, and I always want to do researches about language and why it's important in business and communication, you will see that these words may not be good to some people. People may not like that. But when you see that, so excuse me to use this for maybe once or two times. Our colonial masters, people we call quote unquote colonial masters, one of the first tools they employ is language in our countries. So you see that those who we are colonized by British, what language do they speak? They speak the British language. France and some of the West African countries that they colonize, they speak French. So it tells you that language is very important and it's worth investing in. Recently, we had news by GS of Ghana that they want to introduce Chinese into the curriculum. And where are they starting it from? They want to start from the kindergarten. Why? Because to the Chinese, they believe that if they can get people to speak their language more, they are going to be attached to them and they're going to do business with them. So I want you to appreciate that. It tells you that language is very important. Language is very critical when it comes to communication. And if you have the right frame of work and you know the type of language that whether it's your customers, whether it's your bosses, they speak, and you are able to speak that type of language, I'm telling you, you are going to build trust instantly. And that is why people are investing in teaching their languages in our part of the world.
Wow.
Wonderful. Yeah. So the next question is coming from Bismarck. He says there are a lot of emotional snaps infused in communication. How can we even up when communicating for clarity, effective, and good judgment from our active or passive listeners? How can we even up from our passive and active listeners?
Right.
I hope the question is clear to you. The communicator,
Yes.
did he communicate to you?
Yes.
Good.
I'm getting a layer of the communication down, which is even difference and using Gen Z language, difference between talk and communication. Right. So in my best opinion, I believe that that's the difference between talk and communication. So yes, there are a lot of emotional snaps infused in our communication. Definitely, that is true. That is right. And one thing I want to talk about is that we are emotional beings. As people, we are emotional beings. And if you are working in an organization, you need to be, and that is why I always want some of the people I train, I always want them to take emotional intelligence courses for their team members, emotional resilience, so that sometimes if you are not emotionally strong, one, you may communicate in a certain way. Two, you may understand people in a certain way also. For example, there was a case study of a banker in Tamale who was very good, very jovial, friendly. But one day, she got into the banking mall, and a colleague just asked her, "Oh, madam, welcome. Today, did you..." Before the guy even said, "Today, did you..." The woman just started, exploded. Insulted this colleague, insulted, just was shouting in the banking hall. You know, banking hall, you're not supposed to shout like that. But it was like 7:30, the times that the bankers, they go and they have their debriefs, their morning sessions, and everybody was shocked. So they dig into it, and one of the managers, she was a manager, and she called me that, "Oh, this is what happened. What do I have to say?" And her name is, at that time, Getty, Madam Gertrude. She was the manager of the Tamale branch. She called and said, "Oh, this is what happened." I said, "Dig deeper. Find out why. Talk to the woman. She has never done that. Reach out to her and ask her why." And the next day, when Madam, the boss, the leader, called her into her office and asked her, "Why did you do what you do yesterday? Can you tell me what happened?" She just started crying, burst into tears, and the woman was surprised. And once she settled down, she said that she's going through a lot of stress. The other day, the sister had was hospitalized. She has to take the bill. The brother is in school. She's taking care of her. That this morning, that the day before her outburst, she started her car to go to work, and she saw one of the cousin's children came to the house. Why? They've sacked her from school. She needed money. So all these things, the load she was carrying was triggered by that question. "How are you?" "Oh, today did you..." And there was an outburst. Emotions. Good person, emotional outburst. So communication will let you appreciate that sometimes when someone is even insulting you, understand them. Take your time. Listen well. And dig deeper to see what is the person going through. Mental health is key. And I think today, if you are here, take that one up. Check on people. Know what they are going through. Because people are going through, people are stressed, social media world, people are seeing things they cannot afford, they can never afford. And children or kids are having those things, private jets and stuff, and your dream, you may never get that. So socially, you are off. So there are a lot of social anxieties and people are going through a lot. And that also factor into our communication every day. I want to cap it on a Gen Z question, the difference between talk and communication. I will rephrase it this way, with your permission. What is the difference between speaking in public and communication, right? And that goes to talk about the fact that talking is an aspect of communication. Communication is a bigger umbrella. Whether you're speaking in public, whether you're talking TEDx, whether you're singing, whether you're doing whatever, right, using your voice, you are just talking. But communication even moves beyond that. Emotions, what you even wear, how you even smile, how you react to things, how the world perceives you, your brand, and all this as part of the communication and what you do. And I just want you to understand this. The difference is that communication is a bigger picture, and also talk is just a minute, small aspect of communication. Thank you.
Wow.
Right. Thank you so very much. And we want to thank all those who are giving us the comments and Princess. Very powerful. Indeed, very, very powerful. All right. So maybe I will just piggy on the back of what Ibrahim just said about emotional intelligence, and want to invite all of you who are online to check our social media. I don't know if Akofa has the link, and register for the Emotional Intelligence Conference that our colleague Patrick is working on at the end of this month. Very, very powerful webinar and awards for people who are living emotionally intelligent. All right. So, Ibrahim, my question is simple. In terms of team performance, with all your experience and consulting in other organizations and so on, what has been your experience? What have you found to be the effect of communication on team performance? How does it work?
Right. Thank you very much. One thing I will say before I say any other thing is communication is what holds every team together. Communication, if it is not done well, people feel ignored in a team. People feel that they are not team players. People feel like, oh, I'm not part of the team because they don't involve me in things. I'm not even part of the group, WhatsApp group. There are different classes of WhatsApp groups. I'm not part. And there's no clarity on some of them. If you don't have clarity, I'm telling you that people will feel ignored and the team will never perform well. Why is it a team? It's a team because you have different people sharing their ideas. It's not just a team because it's a team because they say, oh, this person, Ibrahim is part of the team, Mustapha is part of the team, Madam Sarah is part. No, it's a team because you want people to share their ideas. You want people to be involved in terms of communication, in terms of where you even want to get to, the vision of the organization, the vision of the team. It's a team because you have brought people together with their expertise and stuff and things. So if you don't work effectively, your team will fail. Tomorrow, by I think 3 o'clock, we are organizing a training program at DPS Industries. And they do pipes, they manufacture pipes, they manufacture all type of rubbers. And his concern is that his team are always fighting. His team, there are two groups of people working day and night because it's a manufacturing firm organization. And what he has found is that there are some people who are extremely good in different aspects of the team in terms of the production process. Some people are also very good when it comes to a different sector, different chapter. But the thing is that they are not working together. They don't communicate together. So this team will finish their work and they don't communicate to the evening team that this is what you are supposed to do. This is what you are supposed to do. Or this is what we've done. Come and continue on this score. The evening team will come and they will start all over again. So you see that because there's lack of communication, the team is even there, but it can never function. And this transcends beyond even individuals. It transcends beyond even governments, right? or political organizations, and because I'm in Ghana, I can, with your intention or with your permission, I would like to even relay this when it comes to team performance. And don't take it political. If you take it political, you can leave it political. We saw the Ministry of Finance and the Agric Ministry, two ministries in Ghana, going back and forth over figures that they could have just solved. Ministry of Finance says we've released this amount of money, and Ministry of Agric says we've not received that amount of money. It's a team. They are supposed to collaborate. So to me, looking at this, I feel like there's a lack of communication, even though they are supposed to be a team. And I'm telling you, investors may be worried because of what has just happened, and they put that in public. The other question or the other thing I saw yesterday, between TDC, Tema Development, whatever, and they wanted to do like government projects. And the Tema Municipal Assembly, right? They were having serious problems. It's a team. You have to communicate. Disagree in private. Don't show it to the public, because when you show it to the public may lose trust, and the team can never be the same. So team building, effective communication when it comes to team building is very necessary. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Ibrahim. And I think Albert's question that he's asking really underlines the fact, or maybe you can expand on that. He says, what can a team do?
Right.
What can a team do when the team member is not even willing to, the team leader, is not even willing to take control of communication and connect in the team process progress? For example, these examples that you have used. So who is the team leader who should have taken control to connect the progress of these two teams that you have espoused to us? Right.
Thank you very much. I didn't look at that aspect of it, but there are things that we can do in terms of a team leader who is unwilling to cooperate, unwilling to communicate. One thing I can tell you is that the team will function without a leader. And sometimes jealousy will come in, because there's a vision, you want to do something, the team leader is not willing to even take charge and connect in the team's progress. So most of the times you see leaders complaining that the team members are taking shine. There are times you see that also. You feel like, oh, you are in a team. And it's like the leaders rather complain that, oh, this person, the way the person is doing, the person will take charge of my destiny. Why? Because the team leader is not communicating well. Is not willing to take charge. Is not willing to make sure that the team functions well, effectively, right? And when you put all the case studies that I've put it together, you will see that that is, to me, what is happening in terms of the team, the progress, and whatever. When you look at the Tema case, I will feel like the team leaders are not in charge. They're not willing to take responsibility. And they are not also willing to connect in the team's progress. What is the team here? The team is the government. The team is the function of the government in that geographical area. So the least you can do is to connect with each other, whether it's land issues, whatever it is. Down there, you are supposed to, as leaders, take charge and make sure that you are able to connect and to do what you are supposed to do. So back to what a team can do, right? Number one is that sometimes you need to speak up and approach issues in a professional way. Find out also, sometimes find out why is the person not either communicating, or maybe why do you think the person is not taking charge? Because sometimes the team leader may be communicating and you, the employee, may not understand. He is communicating, but to you, you feel ignored, you feel you don't understand, especially when it comes to multicultural groups, right? There's a school I work with, I consult for. It's a new school. And the school, like most of them are from Egypt and Turkey. Some of the teachers, most of the students also are from those places, right? And you will see that there's me versus them syndrome. Me versus them simply means that the blacks against feel like, oh, we are not being heard. And they feel like, oh, these people, the way they are doing things, the way they are doing that. So sometimes you may misinterpret things based on your own understanding. So number one, find out. Try to do your own research to find out why is it that the leader is not taking charge? Or why is it that the leader is not connecting to the team's progress? When you find out and you feel like you can approach the leader, or there are ways you can highlight to let the leader know that these are the mistakes that you are doing, let's do A, B, C, D. Maybe the leader thinks that they will even communicate with emails. And you realize that, no, me, Albert Donko, my best platform or the security person's best platform is a Ayim phone. So the leader may be sending emails, but the security person doesn't have an email, a smartphone to even go online and read, right? To the leader, he or she is communicating the best of her knowledge, but the message is not getting down. So it may be on the blind side of leadership. So you need to reach out and sometimes provide solutions because you're also part of the team. And you highlight it in a professional way. Oh, madam, oh, sir. Oh, if we do this, it will be better. Oh, last time, Mr. So-and-so complained that we didn't add them to the WhatsApp group. So they didn't know what is happening. So next time, maybe if you want to send information around, you can send the information for us to add it to the WhatsApp group, send emails, and sometimes follow up with calls or SMS. So you see, you are correcting the leader, but in a professional way. You are suggesting to the leader, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. And sometimes there are two things that will happen. They may correct their mistakes going forward, or some people will not just listen. They don't care. If that happens, then you also know your stand and know whether you continue with the team or you will leave the team. But that is a decision you have to take. So I think this is what I have to say based on the fact that if the leader is not in sync with the team progress in terms of communication.
Beautiful, thank you. So communication is a two-way traffic. It's both from down and up. So we as leaders as well as followers have to be communicating all the time. I think time is already gone. Sam, maybe we should just have Ibrahim give us his parting shots. We are 3 minutes over the hour, and we'll seek the indulgence of our audience. Yeah, to have Ibrahim wrap up for us, just in 1 minute. Thank you, Ibrahim.
Right. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the time. I appreciate this opportunity. And if you are listening to me, I want you to know communication matters. Your voice matters. And you can make a difference. Whether you are in the African continent, whether you are in Europe, any part of the world that you are in, I want you to communicate, especially my African brothers. Our voices are not heard. I go into rooms that I feel like I see only white people surrounding me, and I have to stand up and train. I know you have more talent sometimes than even me, but you are not filling those spaces. I want you to take your space. I want me and you to take our spaces so that the world will hear us. There will not be distortion of information. We will communicate and let the world know that, yes, my name is Ibrahim Mustapha, and I can make a difference. And you can also make a difference. Don't be timid when you are working in a team, whether it's a multinational team, whether it's a billion-dollar team. Show what you can show them. Tell them what you can tell them. Communicate with clarity. Communicate with belief. Understand people. Understand how they work. Understand how they react. Understand how they do things. And understand the belief system and why they do what they do. If you understand people, then you can communicate with them better. So thank you very much. I appreciate this time. And I just want to say, go out, speak in public, and communicate.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. And just like you said, we should plant trees under whose shade we don't intend to sit. So let's continue to communicate, whether we make mistakes or we don't. So with that, I'll hand over to Uncle Sam to close us for this evening. Until next week. Over to you, Uncle Sam.
Great. Thank you so very much. And Natalia says, lack of communication can lead to disappointment, and disappointment can in turn cause hurt. Clear and timely communication help prevent misunderstanding and protect relationships. That is a very good point to say thank you to Ibrahim for sharing these beautiful idea games with me. You cannot lead if you cannot communicate. So these lessons are good for us. If you missed part of it, go back and pick it. Want to thank all of you. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thanks, Sarah. Thank the team, Akofa, for always putting this up for us. And I want to thank all of you, especially those of you who showed up and asked questions and gave us your beautiful comments and lessons. God be with you. Have a good night. And until we meet you again next week, keep growing, keep leading, keep impacting. God bless you. Good night.
And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do that now.